I have a supernatural voice. I speak without the use of vocal cords. This is not a known alternative speech production process. You will learn by watching my testimony that my voice is different to any voice known to you. My name is Neels Cornelissen, and this is my story. The voice that you now hear is a voice without the use of vocal cords. I lost the use of my vocal cords and the ability to speak after an operation. The period after the operation was devastating. Without my only way of communication, my ability to speak. In a short time, I taught myself an alternative speech. I was communicating by sucking sounds. Competing in a natural world, where if you missed your turn to speak, you might never regain that moment. After I received this voice, the voice that you are witnessing right now, I realized that all the techniques that I practiced for many years and well trained and mastered all form part of my new sound production process. When I initially produced sounds, I had no idea where it was coming from. I knew that it was not coming via my vocal cords. Now, how did this happen? You are about to find out. For you to understand and for you to comprehend my supernatural new voice, you need to have some insight about my techniques that I developed. In the first episode, I shared with you my doggy breathing technique. In this video, I want to share with you which I call my air swallowing technique. This part of my testimony forms part of my greater testimony of how it is possible for me to speak without the use of vocal cords. This technique also became a vital key element in my alternative speech production process. I had no idea that it would even be possible and to become a survival necessity. This is my air swallowing technique I developed under my personal conditions after suffering from severe heartburn, acid regurgitation, and acid reflux. After a double Nissan fund application procedure. A Nissan fund application procedure is a procedure to create a stomach valve and to treat gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD, and a hiatal hernia. This procedure has failed, and I suffered from heartburn from the middle 90s. On 23rd of May 2012, I received a total esophagectomy procedure, or gastric pull-up. An esophagectomy is the removal of the esophagus. Only the bottom part of my stomach was used to form a tube or sausage, which was pulled up into my chest cavity and stapled 5 millimeters below the height of my larynx. The process of acid regurgitation became beyond comprehension after the esophagectomy procedure. Little did I know about 26 years ago, when I mastered this technique, it would become a vital procedure in my later sound production process. I lost my ability to speak after the esophagectomy procedure and was told by a professor that I will never be able to speak again. I have a lot of respect for him. He is a brilliant cardiothoracic surgeon. I am forever thankful to him. I believe that all doctors and everybody involved in healthcare are part of Jesus' ultimate healing ministry. I think that is amazing, and I give him all the glory. I have no approved medical background or any medical qualification. This air swallowing technique I developed based on my personal experiences and knowledge. This basic step-by-step description is based on how I think, feel, and experience when carrying out this technique. The air swallowing technique is effective for temporary relief from heartburn, acid regurgitation, and acid reflux. Heartburn is the burning sensation felt behind the breastbone, along the esophagus and the laryngopharynx. This technique also brings relief to the burning in the throat, the pharynx, the laryngopharynx, the uvula, and epiglottis. This brings mainly sensational relief to the upper part of the stomach. You probably never realized that you can use something that you already have in your own arsenal to combat unwelcome acids. Under normal dietary and liquid consumption, the effect of high intake or acid foods and gas liquids enhances this condition. Gastroesophageal reflux occurs when the stomach content are forced back up into the esophagus. The air swallowing technique is effective for temporary relief when swallowing air into the stomach. I do not recommend this air swallowing technique to people whose stomach was surgically removed or any other condition that will put them at risk of injury. Swallowing air into the intestines can cause discomfort to the digestive system. This is a technique that I do. It works very effective for me. I share this technique with you because in my greater testimony, you will have a greater understanding from where this is coming from. When carrying out this procedure, the cool air brings relief to the burning upper part of the stomach. The alkalinity in the air neutralizes some of that acid buildup in the stomach. This air swallowing procedure is a normal swallowing procedure. Gulping air and swallowing it into the stomach. This is no different than the swallowing of food or liquid. When I initially started with this technique, I firstly practiced a few times to get the feel of how to do this technique. If you want to have success in anything, you have to practice. First, swallow a little amount of air into the stomach. Secondly, to get rid of all the swallowed air from the stomach, use the stomach muscles and push the air back out of the stomach and will exit the mouth with a burp. I would do this a few times and make sure that I don't suffer any discomfort. When I feel any discomfort, I will stop and relax for a while by breathing normally. When I felt confident that I executed this process with success, I then swallowed larger amount of air and again make sure that all the air is discharged from my stomach before I repeat the next air swallowing to prevent unnecessary discomfort. The next step becomes a little more complicated. Again, swallow air into the stomach. Next part of this technique is to keep the air trapped inside my stomach. Relax the body, but keep the air in the stomach and keep it there for as long as possible by holding your breath. Again, force the air out. Relax and breathe normally. I experienced less discomfort the more I had practiced this exercise. I have done this exercise many thousands of times. Again, making sure that all the air is discharged fully with every discharge action. Air must exit by burping. Repeat this exercise until experience no more burning in the stomach. It's very important that you immediately stop repeating this exercise when you feel and experience any unnecessary discomfort. Wait for some time and relax until ready to try again. Please note, it is vitally important that you should at all times continue to breathe normally while exercising this technique. When practice this technique, it's advisable not to be too aggressive to prevent any injury and unnecessary discomfort. I normally experience quick relief from acid burning. This technique also allows the forced air to push down acid buildup in the esophagus. By doing this action, I counterforced the raised acid and forced it back down the esophagus into my stomach. This technique we all do daily, but you can use this technique to combat the effects of a burning stomach. It can also remove your heartburn. Now, how does this technique have anything to do with my later sound production process? Well, you are in the process to find out. Every technique is a vital key element in my sound production. Trust me, the techniques is going to become more complicated and more difficult to understand. Doctors and speech and deglutition therapists don't understand when giving a short explanation of the process. Please note that I developed all the techniques to combat and to even stop heartburn, acid regurgitation, and acid reflux. I thank you for taking the time to listen to this part of my testimony. I trust that you are a little more enlightened and that you will also follow the next part of my testimony that is coming soon. I want to leave you with this promise. The Bible tells us in Psalm 32 and verse 8, I will entrust you, says the Lord, and guide you along the best pathway for your life. I will advise you and watch your progress. Isn't that amazing? In another translation, it tells us, I will instruct you and teach you in a way you should go. I will guide you with my eye. Sure. When we obey God, He will entrust us with His will. He will guide us. He will advise us. He will watch over us. And in verse 10 it tells us, but he who trusts in the Lord, His mercy shall surround us. Let us align ourselves with God's will for us. Therefore I bless you, and I pray that the Lord will bless you too. Till we meet again, and goodbye.